Reproduction and development test. Questions 1 through 30. A lizard can escape from a predator by losing its tail when caught. Often the lizard's tail is replaced by the process of. Well, the answer is regeneration, because you are replacing a tail. Tail is replaced. You are replacing a limb. When a limb is growing back, that's regeneration. A single cell reproduces as shown in the diagram below. Which type of reproduction is shown? Well, you see the parent cell and something's growing off of it. Look in your notes. Budding is growth of a new organism from the parent cell. That was a definition question. So when you're writing what the correct answer is, you have to write budding, because budding is growth of new organisms. The male sex cell. This one is obvious. You needed to study. If you didn't get this right, I feel so sad for you. The male sex cell is the sperm. You need to study your notes. Uncontrolled cell division is also in your notes. When the cells divide uncontrollably, this is a form of cancer. They are making mutated copies of themselves, and they are uncontrollably copying. Which process is illustrated in the diagram below? This is question number 5. Well, you see a parent, then it's squeezing and pinching apart, and all of a sudden now you have two. One parent gives you two offspring that are identical. This has to be asexual reproduction, because there's one parent and the offspring are identical. Okay, let's look at the next question. Having technical difficulties. I need to get to the next page. I'll just go like this. All right. Which is a result of fertilization? Result is what you get. What do you get when fertilization takes place? You get a fertilized egg is a zygote. You're getting half of the information from the mom, half from the dad, so you're getting a zygote. And that's where we get the homozygous, heterozygous stuff from. If an organism reproduces asexually, there's only one parent. So its offspring have to be identical. You only get one parent. This is the only thing I can give you. I only give you one little thing. That's what I have. So they have to be identical to the parent. I can't give you anything else but what I have. Cell division is controlled by which structure? The nucleus controls all of the cell, so it's going to control whether or not the cell divides. Here's your key word, controlled. External fertilization. What does external mean? Outside. So if something is fertilizing outside, you're going to need a lot of eggs, because those predators are going to come and eat them up. So the answer is production of a large number of eggs, because some of them are going to die. This is also straight from your notes, from the chart that we did. Base your answer to the following question on the diagram below, which shows how a frog develops. Egg. Then you get the little tadpole thingy, and it continues to develop until you finally have a frog. Which process is illustrated? Well, you're getting a life cycle. The change in the development of an organism that changes drastically is called metamorphosis. Let's go to the next page. Question number 11. Which process occurs in sexual reproduction? Well, budding is asexual. You're out. Fission is asexual. You're out. Vegetative propagation is also asexual. So sexual reproduction requires two parents. The egg and the sperm will join, and fertilization will occur. This is the choice. In sexual reproduction, which fraction of the genes does each parent contribute to? You're getting half from the mom and half from the dad. 1/2 plus 1/2 equals one whole zygote. In multicellular organisms, cell division is required for growth and repair. If the cell is dividing in a multicellular organism, you're just repairing your cells. You're not making a whole new person. Oh, sorry, I'm going to grow off a piece of my arm and give another person. No, if I cut myself, I'm going to repair it by making new cells. Which organ forms reproductive cells? The ovary. They could have said the testicles too, but it's not there. So it's either liver, that breaks down fat, lungs, that exchanges gases, and you know the intestines absorb water, or if it's a small intestine, it's going to be the final stage in chemical digestion of digestion. In humans, the healing of a cut. Well, cuts need to heal. How do they heal? They heal when cells divide. Cell division is asexual reproduction, so we're going to get rid of this one. Number 3. And, oh, the answer's right here. Asexual reproduction by cell division. They're not budding, and they're not. This one is both answers, sexual and asexual. So that's obviously not the right answer. So if you were confused between budding and cell division, well, your cells divide in half and make more cells. That was from your notes also. Planaria, we have them in the classroom. We need to still cut them. I think Emma's going to cut them for us. You're on the video. Okay. In the diagram below represents which process? The planaria gets cut into 4 pieces, and now you have 4 new planaria. This is regeneration, asexual reproduction. I can't wait to cut them apart. I'll probably kill them, my luck. But they should regenerate like that. Which set of phrases best lists the characteristics of sexual reproduction? Well, you know it has to be 2 parents, so get these away. Done. Sexual reproduction is also fertilization, so you need merging of cells. And the offspring are not identical. They are a variety of different genes, so they are similar. Which process is occurring? Sperm plus egg is equal to... Not sure where I left off, but if you missed 18, there's the answer. And if you missed 19, there's the answer. Number 19 comes straight from your notes. I don't need to go over that. This is the order of the organisms: cells, tissue, organs, organ systems, organisms. There's a little faux pas here because you should have arrows. So that would be the only thing that could have tripped you up a little bit. What's the name of the protective covering that surrounds the pupa? This was from 2nd grade, so I hope that you know the cocoon, which I don't really like this question. Organisms that lay eggs have offspring that develop. You're laying an egg. The egg does not go inside the bird. The bird lays the egg and sits on top of it. So it's going to develop externally. When do organs begin to develop in humans? Well, the human body has an uterus, and inside the uterus are the little babies, the embryos, the fetus, and they will start to develop right after fertilization and before they're born. If the babies are born without their organs being developed, there's a good chance they will not survive. Sometimes they keep the baby inside and give the mom special drugs to help them develop their lungs, because those are one of the last things for them to develop. All right, let's go. 23. Question number 23. Which of the following is an example of sexual reproduction? Well, all of these choices are all asexual. A seed is produced in the flower, and the flower is the reproductive organ of the organism. The flower is the reproductive organs of the plant. An exact copy of a parent is called a clone. All of the other ones, really, a friend. I hope nobody picked that. A zygote is a fertilized egg, so that can't be it. And a nymph, we learned nymph from the grasshopper in the life cycle. Which statement best describes the process of asexual reproduction? Well, you know asexual reproduction has 1 parent, and they're identical. They're clones. So which answer would be the best answer? Does it involve 2 parents? Absolutely not. Does it involve 2 cells? Absolutely not. Does it have a variety in the offspring? Absolutely not. It involves the process, production of egg and sperm. It does not. Ooh, look at me. How many of you did this? It occurs without the joining of the 2 cells. I didn't read the question correctly. Question number 25, the answer is 2 because it says without. That's why I need you guys to check your answers, because I saw none of them are right. I did something wrong. All right, a plant cell and an animal cell is shown below. You see them. Plant cell, then you have these little weird lines going on, and then all of a sudden now you have 2 plant cells. You have an animal cell, and you have these little weird lines going on, and now you have 2 animal cells. So 1 cell becomes 2 eventually in both cases. Plant and animal cells interact. Are they interacting to make new organisms? No, they're splitting apart. So this can't be the answer. Animal cells and plant cells are similar in the way they grow and divide. This looks good. Animal cells require oxygen. Where in this diagram does it show you that it needs oxygen? Where does it show you it's using oxygen for storing food? This is not about storing food. It's about reproducing. And the whole unit was on reproduction, so I hope you didn't pick 3. Nerve cells are present. Where do you see that? So even if you didn't know this one, you need to be good test takers and reduce the wrong answers. What advantage does a species that reproduces asexually have over a species that reproduces sexually? This was straight from your notes. I wrote this question, so not everybody had the same question in the other classes. So what advantage do you get if you reproduce asexually? Well, it's faster. It doesn't require the use of a mate, so there's not a lot of energy being produced. So the only choice would be number 2. We're almost done. Question number 28. Which letter in the diagram represents a female sex cell? It would have to be choice B because this is the egg. So your answer would be choice B is the egg. Life cycle is a series of changes. This is straight from the notes. Number 30, the vast variety of different traits in humans. Well, how do we get different traits? It comes from sexual reproduction. So even if you did not know what a mutation was, you should have been able to answer this question because of this piece. And really, I get my traits from extensive exercise. So you know right off the bat, these are wrong, so you shouldn't pick those. Birth defects and recessive genes. Well, we didn't even do recessive genes yet. And different traits from birth defects. No. We do get different traits from birth defects, but the vast variety of different traits. All of our, like some people have blue eyes, some people have brown eyes, some people have green eyes. We get that because we're changing genes with fertilization. We are sharing the information. All right, part 2. This is going to be one long video. Base your answers to the questions 1 and 2 on the laboratory procedure described below and your knowledge of science. You have an egg. They're taking the nucleus out. Now they're taking a skin cell. They're taking the nucleus out of that also. They're putting the skin cell's nucleus into the egg cell. So the egg cell was then placed in a rat. The question says, and a lot of you did not get credit on this because you didn't answer this correctly. Explain why the baby rat was identical to its mother. You had to say these words. You have to say that the baby rat had the same DNA. You had to either say they were clones, they had the same genes, all the genetic information came from the mother. Something along those lines, all the genetic information. It was reproduced by asexual reproduction. You had to explain this. If you use information from this paragraph or from the little diagram, you didn't answer it correctly. You have to give extra. All right, a different rat gave birth to several babies after being fertilized with sperm. Why are they not genetically identical? Then the answer is these babies were a product of sexual reproduction, or they had half from the mom and half from the dad. So either one, sexual reproduction or half from mom and dad. So some of you didn't get that right either. Or it wasn't asexual like the first one. All right, last page. The diagram below shows the life cycle of a grasshopper and a butterfly. Describe one difference in the pattern of development of the grasshopper and the pattern of development of the butterfly. We did a whole lesson on this. This one is incomplete and this one is complete because it's missing. This one has larva and pupa. So you just have to say one thing. Butterfly has a larva, the grasshopper does not. Grasshopper has a nymph, the butterfly does not. So you could pick whatever thing you want to say, but you have to give me one difference. If you say butterfly has a larva, you have to tell me the other one does not. You can't just say one thing. You have to be specific. And finally, the last question, which some people knew the answer, but they didn't explain it well. And some silly people decided that they were going to look at the grasshopper and the ladybug and answer this. Explain one way they're similar. Please read the question. There are 2 methods of reproduction, asexual and sexual. Explain one way the 2 are similar. Okay? They both produce offspring. If you wrote they both have babies, well, amoebas don't consider their little guys babies. They're just offspring. They both have offspring. Was the answer that we were looking for. You can't say they both involve reproduction because it tells you that in the paragraph. Explain one way they're different. Asexual is identical. One parent. Faster. Doesn't require a mate. The other one, sexual, a variation. 2 parents. Fertilization occurs. Cell division occurs in asexual. 2 parents. Looks like foo. All right, that is it. You need to have better explanations. I'm grading this a little bit harder. You guys need to make sure that when you're answering the questions, you justify them. Bye.